So part of the reason
so
we
we're
wanted
talking
to,
about chickens.
yeah.
Okay.
So part of the reason we wanted to talk about chickens, was because of the news. Have you guys been paying attention at all? So there have been
Some trains,
train derailments,
poisons.
trucks
Yep, yep,
overturning,
yep.
tanker trucks overturning.
Well, and just the general fact that prices have been going up.
Yeah, egg prices have been going up.
Meat prices have been going up.
Yeah, like things are just going up. And so it seemed like a good time to potentially help educate some people who, might be thinking, oh, I'm just going to go grab some chicks or, that type of thing. And what questions you might have coming into that type of venture if you've never raised chicks before or that type of thing.
Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can get off of YouTube and Facebook and that type of stuff. But so we assume that if you're interested, you're going to do some of that research yourself. We're just kind of going through some of the things that we do, which might be unique and also might be a place that you can be like, oh, I haven't heard that, or I might try that, or whatever. Didn't hear that on YouTube. So we're just kind of adding our spin on a lot of that stuff, assuming that you can look some of that stuff up on your own.
Yeah. And we are going to be talking tonight largely to those of you in a suburban setting or who live in a small town or that type of thing, and not to those of you who live in a rural setting. Because what we would do in a rural setting is actually different than what we would do in a suburban setting in terms of breeds we would choose to get.
Yep.
So in our setting, living in a small town, the breeds that we are going to get are going to be for a colorful egg basket because we cannot have a rooster in town. Now, if we could have a rooster, we would get a breed that is auto-sexing where the males actually grow to be large meat size.
We'll get into that a little bit too.
Yeah, so we'll get into some of that later. But so that's what we would look for in town.
Do we want to bring in our...
Oh, so do we have both examples? So we have two examples of
Yep, right in between.
the size of a layer chick. So this is a layer chick. She's actually a speckled Sussex. Her name is Figgy. Say hi, Figgy. And so for size comparison,
Put them right next to each other.
this is a meat chick, and these chicks are the same age. They're both about 2 weeks old, but as you can see, this chick is about double the size of that chick. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Jeb and Maggie.
Yep.
So as you can see, the meat chicks, they're Cornish cross meat chicks that we have this time. They're not our favorite, but they're what we have right now. And they are bred specifically to grow at an incredibly rapid rate.
Freakish.
Yeah. So
why do you want to get your own? Meat prices are going up, egg prices are going up, and then in the atmosphere we've seen some issues that might cause more drastic issues with supplies.
yes.
So yeah, so that's why you'd get your own. Now, before you get your own, you do need to check with city code. Some cities allow like 4 to 6 full-grown chickens. Some cities don't allow anything. So it's kind of tricky to kind of figure out which one should I go with. But we do recommend if your city doesn't... Hi, Michelle. If your city doesn't allow chickens, start getting involved, talking to the city council, whatever might be going on, get a group. So I think it's kind of crazy. We live in rural Iowa, and they don't allow chickens in town. It's all like, it's the farm area. Come on now. Who doesn't want that? Go ahead.
Yeah, so one way is to, find some local 4-H members and have them kind of come alongside of you maybe they can write a report or say why chickens have been fun for them, especially if they live in the country. And then you can bring some kids that live in town and say what they're looking forward to if the city council does change their mind and let people in town have chickens. So
Yep. So, and then before you buy them, you do want to figure out why, what purpose, because they, like we showed earlier, there's meat breeds, and then there are laying breeds, and then there are ones that are kind of the best of both worlds. So
they're
kind
like
of
dual purpose.
Dual purpose. So you do need to choose that. Am I only raising these up for meat only, or am I raising them up because I just want the eggs? If you only want the eggs, our recommendation is get ones that have different colored eggs.
Yes.
And why would we do that?
Well, for me personally, it's because it's pretty. You're like, it's fun. It's kind of like an Easter egg hunt every morning, or, it's just more appealing to me personally to have eggs of different colors.
Now,
you can.
What are the different colors of eggs?
Right, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
So you can get eggs from all like a deep chocolate, almost a coffee color, terracotta, some with speckles. Of course, there's all of the browns. Various stages of browns, all the way down to light brown. Then you can have blue. I saw an egg the other day that was almost a purple color. So they actually took an egg or a chicken that lays like a blue hued egg, and one that laid like almost a pinkish color hue,
brownish,
and so
brown
then
pink.
and then they crossed those, and then you get almost like a purple color egg. But you can have all the way from like robin's egg blue all the way down to a light blue that's almost a white. Some that look pink, and then obviously
little
white.
Greenish tint in some of them, and then white.
Oh, and you can have some that have olive color eggs too, because if you cross like that dark brown with like a blue, you'll get an olive color egg.
Yeah, so that's like level 3 right there.
Yeah,
okay.
That's advanced.
Why else would we want different colored eggs?
So I'm picking up what he's asking me right now. So one strategy that we had, this was when we lived on the farm, is because the breed that we chose, that was an auto-sexing breed, it's called Bielefelder, it's a German breed.
We'll talk about that more in a minute.
Yep. Lays a brown egg. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to have more colors of eggs, but we could only have one brown egg laying breed, because that was what our rooster was a brown egg Bielefelder, and we wanted to make sure that those lines were kept pure. So we could have white egg laying hens or blue egg laying hens or that deep chocolate colored egg laying hens, but no other brown egg laying hen breeds, because we wanted to keep those pure, because we collected those for hatching eggs. So we would sell those as hatching eggs to other people, like on Craigslist or whatever.
Another reason that you would want different colored eggs is so you can see which hen is still laying, because they only last a few years to where they're really laying really well. And if you only have if you have a hen that lays a blue, one that lays a brown, and then a chocolate, and then a white, so you got 4 hens, and all of a sudden you're not getting any more white eggs, which lady isn't quite using the food productively. So that's another way of figuring out which of your hens are laying and which have stopped laying, is because you can just tell by which color egg. So, and it's fun, and also it differentiates, because we had some hens that were just for the eggs, and then some hens were for the auto-sexing, and then the meat breed as well. Yeah. So we really focused a lot when we were on the farm on Bielefelder was one of our favorite breeds that we did. They grew fairly fast, not as fast as your Cornish crosses, because again, those just grow freakishly fast. Yeah. But we wanted a dual purpose bird, and so we got that one. And so the auto-sexing, what that does is you can tell by the coloring of the head as soon as it hatches whether it's going to be a boy or whether it's going to be a girl. And
so as chicks, when they hatch out of the egg, you can look at the chicks and you can tell by their markings if they're male or female.
So that's what we mean by auto-sexing.
Yep.
So I know there's other ways of checking the vent, the underside, to
Yeah.
To see if they're boys or girls.
And there's feather sexing. So
Okay.
when they get their feathers and where they get their feathers, you can tell if they're male or female.
Yep. So it kind of gives you an idea of how many layers you're going to have and then how many roosters you're going to have. Because the other thing that we did, so if you're looking for the dual purpose bird, you can always caponize the boys. And so that's a fancy chicken way of saying castrate. So you actually do like a little mini surgery on it, and you take the testicles out.
Yep.
And then it doesn't go through puberty, but what it does instead is it puts on more bulk and more fats.
Yep.
So that's looking at some comments there. So that's a thing that you can do for caponizing birds. You do need a
special kit.
You do need a kit for that. Yeah, you need some special tools for it. So, but we found that was one way that we could use these dual purpose birds and actually get more meat out of them versus sticking with the having two different kinds. You have your layers only and your eating only.
Yes. And so this obviously this portion that we're talking about right now is when we lived on the farm back out in Washington
And you
State.
have to have a rooster for that, obviously.
Yeah, you do need a rooster. But the cool thing about caponizing or caponization is this was coming into popularity right as the Cornish cross was kind of invented or discovered. And so in Asian countries, people will still just right on the street, people will walk around with their roosters and they'll go find a guy who does this, just a man on the street,
or vice versa. The caponizers will walk down the street. Hey, I'll do your roosters for you.
Yeah, and it's just it's their practice. It's what they do, and so that, like Dave said, it helps those male birds put all of their energy into meat production instead of hormones and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and the reason why we like the auto-sexing is because you got to do it when they're like 8 days old.
Yeah, definitely before like that 2 to 3 week mark.
Yep.
And so it's just a lot less traumatizing for them if you do them when they're a little bit smaller.
Yep.
So
right now what we're doing is we're growing out chickens. It's February in Iowa. It's still pretty chilly outside, so we actually have some of our ones that we're growing out brooding.
Yep.
In the basement.
Yep.
So, and then our plan is to find somebody with, well, we already, where we're at, we're partnering with another group, family that has a farm.
Yep.
And so we're going to, we'll brood them until they're big enough to go outside, and then the other family will take care of them from there.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to, and these are for the meat chickens.
Meat birds.
And then when it's time to, right before we put them in the freezer, we'll all get together and do that as two families together, and then we'll split it up from there. So that's kind of our plan for chickens there.
Yep. Yeah, so that's kind of the way we do things. A little snapshot of what it looked like when we lived on the farm, and what we're doing now in terms of raising chickens in town, that type of thing. So
yeah, feel free to reach out if and there's so much information online that we don't want to go over stuff that there's other YouTube channels or Facebook places out there that'd be so much their information is a lot better produced. We're just kind of giving you a snapshot, like what you a snapshot of kind of the way that we're working things. We have other birds and other animals that we're working on as well, and we'll cover those next week.
So that's a little highlight or a little snippet of what we're going to talk about next week. So this week we're talking about specifically only chickens, because we knew we have enough to talk about that it would probably take the majority of the time. So next week we will be talking about other meat sources.
Rabbits and
quail are the two that we're going to cover next week. And then again, we're in a city setting, so those are both things that we can do here in town. One thing super quickly, if you are going to get into chickens or you're getting chicks or that type of thing, You know, there is medicated feeds out there. That's not
Right.
something that we do.
Nope.
You know, what you are what you eat is a saying that is around.
You are what you eat eats. Too.
Yeah, you are what you eat. Oh, that's what I meant. Eat eats. You
Yeah.
are what you eat eats. Anyways. That feels like too many eats, but anyways, now I'm hungry. Anyways, so we are not big proponents of medicated pretty much anything. We are huge proponents of herbal support alongside of whatever you're feeding or raising or growing, including yourself. So my tip for you is when you are brooding your chicks, you're refilling their little water container, add a splash of apple cider vinegar or a good glug of apple cider vinegar to their water. It helps them just thrive and be super healthy.
And the feed that we buy?
Yes, the feed that we buy is organic feed. And we always like to put in some, every once in a while, I'll throw in some oregano or just some like fresh herbs. Right now I don't have any fresh herbs, so I'll do some dry herbs in there. But that just helps kind of invigorate them and just make sure that they stay super healthy. The other thing that I wanted to mention too is sprouting lentils or peas, or like if you go to the store and just buy, you know, a dry bag of peas or lentils or something like that, you can sprout them in a mason jar, like a quart mason jar. Do not fill it full with dry beans, obviously. You're going to fill it really shallow, and you're going to rinse those every day and drain those. And that's an extra source of protein, and they will get green tops on them. And it'll be super beneficial for your chicks right now when it's hard. Even if you have chickens.
There's a lot of videos out on YouTube, a lot of information out there too on sprouts for either human consumption or for your pets.
Yeah. So sprouts are great because you can get some of that greenery in them now when there's in Iowa nothing really green outside. So
still pretty white.
Pretty
We're in northern Iowa.
Yeah, pretty white.
Yep.
So. Anyways, if you have questions this week, like always, drop them in the comments or drop me a message. Don't drop Dave a message. Unless you have his phone number, then you can text him.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep, sounds great.
And
thanks for watching. And
any quail or rabbit questions for next week, let us know too, because we can answer all of those. So,
Cool.
happy Friday.